So I thought I'd just share some thoughts on how that relates to everything that's going on in the health and fitness industry, full stop. Not just now, but it's been going on for quite a while. I think with a lot of health and fitness stuff, PTs have opinions, so you have to be careful on who you're taking your advice and guidance from, because quite often those opinions can be influenced by what may be going on with that PT at that given time, or also what also might be on trend. Okay, so you have to be a little bit careful with that side of things. So just bear that in mind too. If you watch influencers, you follow people on Instagram, maybe on there as well, what you tend to see with a lot of those is that, again, a lot of them are pushing products, or they're sharing other bits and pieces that are like, they tend to share things that are maybe not going to be right for everyone, and might be doing it for their own benefit. So they might not be doing it for themselves. And I think this is what happens in our industry. We all, as a whole industry, health and fitness wise, we end up confusing the hell out of people through trends, opinions, and just basically not really giving the right advice. We all have our different goals, we all have our different outlooks, we all have different beliefs, we all learn from different people, and it's good to take these things on board. I've been fortunate enough to travel quite a lot, learn from some of the best in the world, and a lot of the stuff all is the same what they teach, so a lot of the stuff all links into the same stuff. So I think what can happen sometimes is someone tries to reinvent the wheel and then tries to twist it, and then it gets misconstrued. Right, it's not good, and I think the health and fitness industry is a bit flawed, and I think it's also quite sad, because it also then can cause problems for people as well, because they don't know which way to turn. So they can end up being very fixated on thinking that low carb is the only answer to weight loss. Right, I'm going to tell you that low carb is not the only answer to weight loss. Okay, I can tell you that for a fact. Just speak to some of our clients. At the end of the day, right, I personally been guilty of this. I did it years ago. I put everyone on low carb diets because it got really fast results very quickly, and it can work well for some people, but not so well for others. And you have to take each individual person into account with everything ultimately. And I think, like I say, for a lot of people, it can get very confusing because we're all sending different messages out. I think there's a minority that do send out the same messages. Make sure you're eating your proteins, your carbs, your veggies in a relative balance. Make sure you're keeping your calories within control. Make sure that you're getting enough water. Make sure you're getting 8 hours sleep a day. Make sure that you're not living too stressful a life. Okay, and all of these things are a nice solid baseline. But I think what happens a lot of the time is lots of people tell different things. Oh, do this, get up at 6 a.m, go for a morning walk, then eat 5 small meals a day. Start with this and this, and then you're pulling loads of different things, and before you know it, you're consumed by everything that's going on, and then you just end up in a mess because you don't know what's working anymore, what isn't working. There's no measurability of it all, and you end up more confused than ever when you look at the scales, especially if it's weight loss, and you go, oh, I ain't changed, or my health doesn't feel any better, I'm not feeling any more awake than I was before. Everybody needs a different approach with things, and it's very individual to a person. So what works for one might not work for another. And I think as a rule of thumb, I think like I say, the health and fitness industry can be its worst. It can confuse people at times with different mixed messages that are coming out. Ultimately, our goals as fitness professionals, we should be helping people just get fit, healthy, and as a byproduct, you lose weight. Okay. Some people need to lose weight because of certain health conditions. I get that. But for the most people just need to focus on getting healthy more than anything else, and that's really should be the main focus. And if you just follow some very simple principles, such as like getting you 7 to 8 hours sleep a day, okay, make sure it's good quality. I don't mean just going to bed and getting up in the morning. I mean going to sleep, waking up well rested, ready to get out of bed the next day. Okay, when the alarm goes off, you're ready to go. Okay, make sure you're getting your 2 to 3 litres of water a day. If you're training, you probably want to add another about 500 mils of water on top of that, maybe a litre. People sometimes sweat quite a bit. Now's a good time also to add some electrolytes in because you're sweating more. So that's one other thing to basically add into it all. Other than that, you make sure that each meal contains some form of proteins, carbs and fats. Okay, and it doesn't need to be crazy low. You know, you could have it quite simple, a simple setup. If you, I'm not going to go through some examples because I can't be bothered. My brain's too fried to think about it. But if you want some examples, just message me, and then make sure that you're, you know, keeping your stress levels down to a minimum. Make sure you're doing some exercise every day. You know, I have moved away very much from feeling like I've got to get in the gym 5-6 days a week, you know, beasting myself with weights. I went through a phase of that. I can't do it anymore. Like, I can't keep up with that pace. So, you know, for me, my current lifestyle, my things that are going on in my business, like for me, just making sure I get out and walk once a day has been a habit I've had for quite a bit of time with this. And not only that is, you know, make sure I'm getting my runs, my bike rides. I do lift some weights, but, you know, not as regular as I used to. But just doing those little things and getting some movement in each day is going to help you. Just make sure you're keeping control of everything in terms of your calories as well. And, you know, ultimately that will help balance out your health. And there is other bits you can do more tactical, but until you can get those bits in like alignment, you're going to be stuck. So you need to get those things dialed in first and then move forward and look at all the other tactics that you can start adding. Like I say, you can make it very complicated and it can be very confusing, but if you just implement those few things that I've just mentioned, okay, they will get you a long way before you need to start adding any extra tactics. And, you know, I'm talking about health, I'm not talking about necessarily weight loss specific. So, you know, and that's what we should all be really focusing on, and making sure our health's at our best right now. So anyway, just thought I'd let you in on that a little bit, because I thought it links nicely with the challenges that I'm facing today. Like, I mean, to be fair, like we approached the council and we also had another bit of land lined up anyway, but it's just frustrating. Like, as a coach, as a trainer, as someone that just wants to help people, you know, we're seeing people really struggle because they've not got the motivation to jump online in some cases, and it's not a nice place to see people. I want to see and help people and make sure that they're, you know, they're still moving, because, you know, a lot of people do train to mentally feel good as well as physically. So, but yeah, just a little bit frustrated today, to say the least, with some of the rules that are going on, especially when you can walk in Tesco, there's 50 people in there and you can pass by them dead close. I'm sure that you're put more risk of catching something from there than you are if you're training in small groups. But anyway, that's by the by. Rant over. Other than that, guys, I hope you're well, and maybe I might do more videos. I keep saying I should do it, and I always procrastinate. So I'm trying to make a habit, and maybe I'll help someone in the process of it all. All right. So anyway, take care, guys. Get those 5 things in line that I mentioned earlier, and that'll help you move a long way forwards.